everybody. Welcome to All the Forbidden Things. This is the podcast where we talk about all the things we're not talking about, or we go into more personal detail about things that we often don't think to talk about. So today I am joined by Bonnie Bro, who is a theater director and a company owner here in Savannah. We were in chorus together and have become friends, and I've been in some of her productions. So we are going to talk about the experience of creating a theater company called Performers for Social Justice here in Savannah. And we're going to get into what Bonnie's experience is like, why she set it up, what it's like to run it, how it is to start something like that in a small community. And yeah, I think you'll find it very interesting. So thank you and welcome.
Instead of spilling the tea, we're sipping the wine.
I'll get her to spill the tea. Don't worry.
Oh, no, you won't. Never happen.
Okay, so we always do a test question.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at your beautiful hair color. What do you think I would want my hair color to be if I tried out something new?
I think you would want to go darker, almost to black.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I have tried that before.
Okay.
And I looked like Morticia.
But bad.
It wasn't terrible. Yes, see, I love her style.
I
do too. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. The one time I did it. And it was in the mid 2000s. I was 18 or something. And it made me look really emo, and it had the slightest tinge of red to it or whatever. But yeah, that's probably what it is. People say that I would look good blonde, and I'm like, my personality, no. I don't think,
Your skin coloring. Yeah. It just doesn't go.
I'm an autumn, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So
I got it right.
Yay. Then I should guess yours. If it wasn't the color it is, what would you try? I think you have the same answer, except that I don't know that it would suit your coloring as well to go dark. But I think if it did, you would like that.
I love dark hair.
Yeah.
However, I have never tried really dark hair. I have been a blonde in the past, and it was very difficult to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
I looked washed out, basically.
Okay.
So I think this color pretty much suits me.
Really suits
it goes
you.
With green eyes. It goes with my kind of pale reddish colored skin.
No, it's so perfect.
Thank you.
What is your very, very natural color?
It's like a brown auburn.
Okay.
So it's like a medium brown with a little bit of auburn tints.
So you've kind of just added a little extra. Looks maxed it.
I've enhanced my red with conditioner. That's the name of the product. It's really cool.
Well, it works great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So should we just jump right into it?
Sure.
See, Bonnie's very. You do a lot of things. You know how to run stuff. I feel like we can just keep going with the program of the show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So what is your first question to me?
So, Rebecca, my first question to you is twofold. It's one question with part A and part B. The part A is, what type of theater do you think I prefer as an audience member? Do I prefer straight plays or do I prefer musicals?
Okay.
So that's A. The B part is, what type of theater, musicals or straight plays, do you think that I prefer as a director?
Okay. And is the question in an ideal world or in the world that you typically operate, or how you the size of the company here, etc.?
I would say in an ideal world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that you love watching musicals because you have so many that you reference. However, However, I'm going to go with, I think that you as an audience member really like watching a gripping play, and that you would, with, in an ideal world, produce quite a like high level production musical, or at least like, really like quirky, interesting, like, but that you like the experience of directing the musical or of the music, but you actually probably really do enjoy sitting through a play. Is that correct, or the reverse?
So, as an audience member, I prefer just a straight play, and
Okay.
I will tell you why. As an audience member, I can't get rid of the director part either, because that's ingrained, and I've been doing that for like 46 years. So when someone sings a song as a character, the moment that character opens his or her mouth and starts singing, I say to myself, I hope this person is able to stay, number one, stay in character and be true to the character, and not just kind of like sing something and just la-di-da and go on to the speeches, dialogues, monologues. And the other piece is, I'm also concerned if they're going to have good breath control,
or stay in tune,
or right, pitch. So there's a part of me as an audience member that I can't get out of my director head, but I prefer a very, very, very intense, psychological, dark play. That would be my choice as an audience member.
And then as a director?
As a director, I prefer to direct musicals.
Yeah.
Because I love to see an actor's development when someone starts to get in character and sings a song and does the song really well and animates the song and does the movement. That's very joyous to me. Plus, as you said, I've directed a lot of musicals. So that tends to be where my strength is. So, yeah, that's it.
And do you like the experience of like having an effect on the person coming out of their shell and being able to bring it to life? Like, as part of what it is, not just the whole picture, but that you ignited something in that one person that kind of unlocked the thing that made it work?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've worked with many different actors. Some have never done anything, and some are very experienced. So it's always a great joy when I see someone that's, kind of hidden in a script or some music just sort of just develop. Like, for example, when you joined Three Penny Opera and you had told me that you had never done a solo in a musical before. And I thought, wow, she's really brave to do this and to do it in German. That's just amazing. And then you just did it. I was like, wow, she just did that. Like nothing. Like it was nothing. I don't know what kind of angst you went through before that.
You know what it was, though, is it was your encouragement. Like, I don't know, I think it was like the first song that came out of my mouth or whatever, when it was just you and me, and it was well received. And I could see that you were looking at me as someone who is like an individual who actually has something nice to share that's worthy of an audience. And it gave me this, like, I don't know, I won't call it like life-changing confidence, but it gave me a kind of confidence that allowed me to just like try it out a little bit more like this and try it out a little bit more. And I was like, oh, I belong here. Like, I deserve to do this. This is a thing I can do. So yeah, it actually had quite a profound impact, because I get caught up in like perfectionism and like, oh, I have to perform it this way or that way. And you create a relaxed environment where I think like someone feels like they can just kind of bloom, like you just kind of provide the sun.
Oh, Miss Sunshine. I've never been described that way. Thank you. That's great.
See, it's already sycophantic. So are you going to cast me in your next
Dr. Evil.
Oh, man. Okay, cool. So Let's see. Should I jump in,
Sure.
or do you want to jump in with your next one?
Good.
Okay. What kind of performance do you think that I enjoy being in the most, and for everyone watching and listening? Bonnie does somewhat minimalist, a lot of staged readings. We're doing a musical, but it's very like nicely in situ, and I think that's how you say that.
Yeah,
right?
that's correct. Yeah.
And then like it's very intimate, it's space appropriate, community appropriate. So, and it's just really nice. That is an experience that I hadn't had before that was like really intentional. So before I give you my answer, what do you think I prefer? Like if it was like huge production value, Greatest Showman kind of thing, or something more like that?
I think you would prefer a very thought-provoking production that has a lot of psychological themes, but I think you would prefer to do it in a larger venue.
Interesting.
Like in New York City, in Chicago, where you could affect more people.
That's a really, that's a good, okay, yeah. Because all right, so I am not experienced. I'm not going to say I'm not gifted enough, fine, but because she's going to correct me.
Of course.
But I do not, like when I did some theater stuff in the past, either like high school, college, or a little bit in LA, it was like black box theater stuff, readings, but like everyone there wished that it was better than it was, if that makes sense. Like the director was frustrated they were in a black box theater, if that makes sense. It's like it wasn't like they were embracing, this is the kind of thing that we're doing. It was like they were trying to do their magnum opus and like the generic stage, you know what I mean, rather than saying like, this is the space, we're gonna make this work for this, and we're gonna do the best, like we're gonna do art that works here. So working with you, I began to really appreciate, like, a lot of times, so our very first play, Love, Loss, and What I Wore, people really just, especially that way that is written, which is a bunch of different kind of monologues and pieces. People really just want to hear the emotional nugget part of it. They just want to get as close to the actors as possible and feel what they're feeling. That's it. Like they don't care. And even in a larger production, a lot of the stuff just helps to bring people in and immerse them in the world so that they can have that thing, the nugget. So I feel like you set up situations where people get what they want out of any play, like much more, not raw necessarily, but more immediate, right? And because the spaces are smaller, it's a very special experience. Like I went to this play that was a gift from someone. This play that Adam Driver was in.
I love Adam Driver.
Yeah, he was great. It was called Hold On to Me, Darling. Okay. If you get back up to New York at any point, and I don't know if it's still running, it was incredible, but it was a very small space. It was smaller by far than the Lucas Theater here. It was almost the type of size of a space that we might work in, but it was a theater size. So, and people were paying big money for those seats because they're so freaking close to the person. And it wasn't like overly produced. It just had enough minimal staging that you felt like, oh, we've changed locations. This is an important set piece for what they're doing, but it's a massage table. It's needed. But so my point is I like being on the other end of that really intimate experience with an audience. And I like them being able to have that of me. But I do think there is a part of me that, like, when we did the Andrea Bocelli concert for chorus, like I do love the largesse and I love like the red velvet kind of a thing.
Sure.
Like there is a part of me that loves that, but I also like the experience of so many people are getting lit up.
Exactly.
So I do like that. You're right.
Yeah. That's one of the, I would say, challenges of doing some theater that I'm doing here. So first of all, my theater company was conceived, I conceived it in Massachusetts. And I did it because I wanted to expose community members to social justice themes, witnessing them, experiencing them, maybe reflecting. So I've only done staged readings with this particular theater company. And when I say it's minimalist, there's a few props sometimes, but just a few. So there's very few props. There are no set or scene changes. We donate proceeds from our shows to local community agencies. We are a nonprofit. So one of the challenges has been, first of all, the timing right now is interesting because there's so much going on with the country, which I will not divert to. But there's so much there are major themes going on in the country, which are sort of drawing people's intellectual and emotional ability to manifest anything, drawing that away. And it seems like people want to be numb at times.
Yes.
People don't want to go to the theater and learn about something provocative or traumatic and have to talk about it, think about it further, process it at night when they're home in their beds. They want to just kind of go and be entertained.
Yes,
escapism and feel numb, and then the day starts all over again. So I think right now my doing a lot of very intense theater in a minimalist stage reading way is probably not as effective as when I first moved to Savannah in 2021 because of everything that's going on, and people are like at each other's throats.
Yeah.
In terms of like reality, real life.
Well, you've responded to that well with doing the Three Penny Opera, which is, for people who don't know, it is like over 100 years old. It was originally in the 20s. It was a play that got developed into an opera sort of for the people. So it was easy for people to watch. And it's kind of got like I almost said bordello.
Well,
burlesque almost experience to it. It's got like kind of so it's really fun. We're doing it in actual German. There's just three of us now singing. And it's just, we do pieces from it, but it's like, it is entertaining. You don't even necessarily freaking know what we're saying.
That's true.
And, but if you wanted to explore it more, there are very deep themes and socially relevant things there. So I think that's a really good choice with that. But I really relate to what you're saying because with this channel, I launched it last October. On September 11th of last year. Oh my God.
Oh, it's an anniversary.
Crazy.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. So I didn't expect to live in the world that we're living in. Even though I was anticipating it, I think I also wanted to avoid it.
Sure.
And so I was like, oh, this channel will help bring everyone together. And I almost thought I could wave a white flag and stop it from all going down, and of course not. And also, Rebecca, you started a little late in the game, a month before the election. But after we got the results back and things like that, I mean, people will pick up on my political leanings, but I had all these guests booked. I was ready to launch a bunch of things. I had it very focused on identity issues and DEI kind of focused things, but in an interesting way. I mean, it's an important, that's still an important thing.
Yes.
And, and I had to rebrand a little bit. Then I tried some videos on my own. Guests dropped out. I had one guy, I did the interview. It was about being a white male. And
I saw that one.
Actually, I didn't
no.
use this one.
Okay.
I had one that was about being a black man.
That's the one I saw.
But this was the reverse of this, which was actually Levon had asked, hey, would you be interested in doing this kind of version? But what is it like to be a cis, straight, white male today?
Mm-hmm.
And he lives in Brooklyn. He's a good friend of mine. He's kind of the guy next door. And we had a really cool interview. But he was so impacted by the experience and fearfulness about how he might be perceived or saying the wrong thing or just some other things he had going on in his personal life. We weren't able to air it ultimately. And that was actually really, no offense to you, my dear, if you're watching this, because I know there were other things involved, but it was demoralizing to me. I was destroyed by the idea of like how poorly things are going. Mm-hmm. And then no one wanted to participate in anything about how poorly things were going. Right. For probably about 6 months. Mm-hmm. It was almost impossible to get a guest. Nobody even wanted to think about anything that has to be thought about. Mm-hmm. So the channel kind of like was like, oh, I was ready to launch. And then it just fell like a brick. Mm-hmm. And then I've been thinking like, how do we, as people who are creating something and want to continue to ignite people's minds, because I don't think we can really move forward unless we are challenging people beyond the place, right? You can't just like freeze in place and then nobody's moving and nothing's changing. Yeah. So you do have to get someone to a different place. Mm-hmm. How do we do that without, and I'd love for you to speak to like your approach initially with like trying to impact people socially. But for me, it was like, let's all go into the darkness together with a little lamp and look at it and then see if we can find our way out. Mm-hmm. And now, even when I try to do that in my own personal life, I fall into depression or it's too large for me. And it's also because when I go in, there is no out. And so it's just another darker room. Gotcha. And so I think like, then that makes me think, is there another approach to engaging people or helping us that is more, I don't know, palatable right now, digestible for people right now, and also maybe ultimately even a more positive way to move forward that I hadn't even considered was an option for helping us all evolve. Sure. So I don't know, like, what was your original approach and how do you take that?
So when I first moved to Savannah, I, of course, didn't know anyone. So I was like, just kind of, setting myself on fire, so to speak, because I didn't know what sort of reaction I would get. I actually put it out on social media that I was forming this theater company, and I described what we would be reading, that they were staged readings, etc. Because I didn't know people, I didn't want to have a bunch of unknown people in my house. That could be a little scary.
Fair.
So I met people at the square. I met a bunch of people at the square across from the Unitarian Church. Okay. And I just handed out information and we had discussions. But what I wanted to start with was to start really, really tiny with a 2-person play. So I tried to get the rights to The Mountaintop, which is a play by Katori Hall. And this depicts Martin Luther King's last days in his hotel in Tennessee. Wow. Before he was assassinated. And the state of Georgia wrote back and said, this play is restricted. Why? But come to find out, I found this out many months afterwards that there was another gentleman doing the play at SCAD. Oh, okay. So I was like, phew. So I picked kind of a sister play to that called Fireflies by Danye Love. And I started with a 2-person cast. I held it in a coffee center, which is no longer there. It was a Black-owned coffee place, the Cultural Union.
That place was great.
Yeah, I know. It closed very soon after my play. I hope my play had nothing to do with it.
You
Sorry. It did, like that, like a few days later.
We
I'm
can
like,
do an episode about that.
hey, let's do some co-writing here, right? Isn't that crazy?
Oh.
So I started there, and then I thought, you know what? I'm going to change gears a little bit and add a lighter venue here, and that's when I came up with Love Lost and What I Wore. And heck, you can always get more females involved with theater. I mean, I don't mean that as a sexist statement, but it's true that in terms of casting, there are twice as many females that will show up than males to a show.
Is it that they are more, again, speak freely,
Sure.
no one's judging.
No.
Is it that they tend to show up as more reliable, or that there's more of them?
I think there's more of them, and I think in terms of larger plays, there tend to be more female roles than male roles.
Fair.
It's kind of like in ballet too.
Yeah.
You know, when you have an audition, well, it depends on the ballet. I mean, some ballets are very equal, where you need that one-on-one partnership for the expertise. But yeah, I mean, not as many boys take ballet lessons as girls do. So generally, logically, you think, okay, so I'm going to have more girls at the audition for whatever. So anyway, I started, my second play was Love Lost and What I Wore, in which you were in. And we had a nice size audience. I was able to fill up the place. They enjoyed it. So that was like a black comedy, I would say.
Yeah.
It was humorous. It had relatable things in it. Mm-hmm. And yet it had a lot of things that were somewhat traumatic in it. And part of me, I was a mental health therapist for many, many years. So the mental health part of me, when I was reading the play and when I was listening to you guys as the cast reading it, I was like, wonder, like, if people are going to, like, bleed out over this statement or that statement. Because, as you know, it got pretty deep. Mm-hmm. And then it just, like, went into comedy again.
Yeah.
Right? So that was an issue that I was like, oh, no. But it worked.
It did.
It worked. People enjoyed it. And I'm glad that we were able to get that audience for that, and that was a decent fundraiser for the community.
Yeah. And that's actually a good example of something that kind of works, including even like right now, emotional resonance wise, because it's, they always say, like, you want to package things in humor. Mm-hmm. Well, that was like packaged in nostalgia and warm, fuzzy feelings.
Exactly.
So it wasn't like a very raw, anger-based sort of like weird, which I do plenty of, fighting the patriarchy and like it was like, this is what my relationship with my mom was like. This is what and it was written in a time too that like was just a little bit softer of an approach, but there was still like painful stuff that came out. And I think a lot of people, but see, this is an interesting thing. I'd be interested in your opinion on this. Okay. People related to aspects of it because they had been through it, and especially women related to aspects of it, and they were touched and maybe felt more in touch with themselves. But do you think that kind of piece moves the needle for people to do something outside of their realm of comfort? Because a piece like that is like a really nice emotional release. Mm-hmm. But the reason you're enjoying it is because it's showing things that are familiar and not introducing you to something new necessarily. Yeah. There were some elements, but it's not like the type of thing that keeps you up at night a year later. Well, maybe.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be, because there were some themes in there about some pretty devastating medical illnesses.
Yes.
And some relationship issues that were abusive.
Yes. But typically I feel like it would be if you already had experience with that.
Right.
Then that is what catches you, and it kind of maybe helps you process more.
Yep.
Whereas it's not the type of thing where you're going to walk away if you've never had that experience. You might be like, oh, I understand that a little bit more now. but it's not like from a social justice perspective. It's not like it's taking things very, very far forward.
Right.
Which I'm not saying anything against it. I'm just saying in a repertoire of things, like how do you, what do you think about that kind of thing?
So let me just speak about, first of all, the people who were in the cast. Okay. So some of the people in the cast had never done anything like that play.
Yeah.
Like they've done, like Neil Simon things, sort of generic comedic things. And that sort of added a layer for them to later think, oh, okay, this other side is different. The non-comedy side is interesting. And I can talk about it with friends and I can talk about it afterwards. So I think for the cast itself, that actually opened some minds to doing my darker stuff that I like to do. In terms of the audience, it's really funny that you say this, because that show was well received. I did another comedy in January.
Oh yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that one.
Well, it's okay. Neither did anybody else. No, just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No.
It's because I wasn't there.
Because you were in it. You got to be in these things. So I picked something very intentionally because of the things that are going on. And I thought, okay, like I can't call this really a social justice play. So I termed it under my sister company, which is Savannah Readers Theater, which is the lighter sort of performance production piece. So it was all about women of Savannah. And it was very funny. And it was a small cast. And it mentioned all kinds of scenes in Savannah, places, dates, times, restaurants, food, cheeses, etc. And we hardly had an audience for that. And that really shocked me, because I figured if I'm going to do something like really cutesy, now is the time when people want to escape. They want to be numb. They want to be entertained.
Yeah, and it's a familiar place to them.
And it's
we've got the tourism aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that did not go over well.
Yeah, that's a weird miss, if you will, because
it was a very weird miss.
One would expect it to go well.
But then that gives me hope again that I just have to gradually seep back into the darkness of very deeply introspective plays. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of done both ends of the spectrum. Timing was off with the Savannah Sipping Society, and it had alcohol. We didn't drink alcohol in it, but talked about a lot of alcohol. So I'm like, hey, everyone in Savannah loves this.
Well, you know what was also interesting about that time is that there was everybody went into the deepest, darkest hole for a few months. Then people were maybe they were starting to tune out of certain things and whatever, but they were maybe not engaging with much at all. Then as they started to come back in, now they're looking for more entertainment value.
Right.
You've got the maximalist, almost like the 20s kind of culture.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, so that it just literally could have been a bad time in general as well. But you did Miss Evers Boys after that.
Yes.
And that was very impactful. I felt like it had a good enough audience.
Yeah, that one actually, I did that one before the.
Oh, it was before.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
So what month was that in?
The Miss Evers Boys was in February, and then the following January, I did the Savannah Sipping Society.
February of 2023. Oh wow, that was a long time ago.
I know.
Really? It was that long ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So different time.
I was very grateful to have such an amazing cast, and I'm going to give a shout out to our friend Lavon, because Lavon has been my liaison in terms of finding people in the community, recommending people, linking me to people, and he's also helped me a few times with technology issues because I suck at that. And he's been very patient with me, but yeah, so he actually helped me put a cast together for Miss Evers Boys.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is the story of the Tuskegee syphilis experiments that the United States performed on Black men, telling them that they were going to be tested for syphilis and they had to have their blood drawn. And don't worry, you've got syphilis and we're going to give you medication. And that didn't happen. So this went on for years. But what amazed me, even in Savannah, and I would have thought like down south, like the different populations other than white would know a little bit more about this. A lot of people had no clue. When I said the word Tuskegee, they said, "Oh, you're doing a play about the Tuskegee Airmen."
Interesting.
No. Hardly.
Talk about whitewashing history.
Exactly.
They do a good job, you know?
Yeah. So, I even spoke with many of my music students who are Black, and like some, younger than me, some older, some did not know about this. So to me, I think that was one of those, let's catch the community by surprise and kind of shock. I did that in a circle formation. I had everybody sit in a circle. I played the djembe for part of it. And I did that so that people could feel like even though they knew nothing about it, they're going to be inundated now. Like, you're going to be part of this process. So, yeah.
I think that was probably, of anything I've been in or seen, was the most impactful of your productions for me. I think the circle format worked really well. And also that brings to mind something about, especially in a smaller area, which I want to touch on that quickly as well.
Sure.
But part of what you're offering, I mean, it's similar with my episodes here, right? Don't have a huge following yet, but when I do one with a person, we always feel closer afterwards. There's something we realize or reveal. And on some level, I also do it for the guests. And so it's similar for like the actors, is being in a performance like Love, Lost, and What I Wore. I will say, actually, as the performer, had a very transformative experience on me, including some of the relationships I developed out of that, and because of the themes in it.
Right.
So, and I think like the Miss Evers boys, the cast had and they have said to me as well, whenever I've talked to any of them, had such a meaningful experience with connecting to their history, connecting to certain parts of the community that they maybe didn't feel like they had connected to. And that was so evident that you just sort of secondhand are experiencing the richness of their experience. So I think there's something to be said too, that even though, it's not a huge group of us in each thing, it's still almost like, I can't speak for you, that it's worth it for the cast.
Oh, it's definitely worth it for me.
That is like, it's such a meaningful experience to actually be in the production, and especially one that really catches you. That part of that is like that other people like are just soaking in that experience, but also it's like the cast themselves that are impacted.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. Yeah. One of the frustrating things is there are a couple of frustrating things about trying to coordinate these things in Savannah. Number one is commitment.
Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah. And I purposefully designed this minimalist stage reading thing so that people could also have time to be in other plays. I mean, my rehearsals are few and far between. You don't have to memorize anything. So the commitment thing has been funny. There have been people who have said, "Oh yeah, okay, I can do it." And then they've gone into other shows and said, "Well, now I can't do it because I have like rehearsal, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, okay. So that part's been frustrating. And then trying to, I guess, reach new community members. And I think, again, that is reflective on what is happening right now. And people want to sort of like not get emotionally and psychologically involved with something that intense. They want to sort of like sit back. So I'm hoping that in time, and timing is everything in theater too, I'm hoping in time that mindset will cease cease and desist, and then people will be more open again. I think things come in waves. I mean, look at what happened in 2020, right? I mean, we had a different vibe in the USA, and then it changed, and it'll change back.
But revised.
Way revised. Yeah. So,
but still to the point, yes, the people will still be interested in things outside of the comfort zone again.
Exactly. Yeah, it's right. It's a waiting game, and I think that a lot of it is just a test of patience and perseverance. So I'm trying to be skilled at both those things.
Yeah. I think that is part of the challenge. Well, I'll guess, and then you can tell me.
Okay.
But of like, what is the absolute hardest part as a director of something, or like, for example, myself, like starting a channel or something where you're producing something, there's some other people involved, you've started it, and now you kind of have to like keep going with it, but there's a lot of things happening. So I would think the most challenging thing for you would probably be those moments of things that you thought were going to hit but didn't. Because a lot of emotional, like the Sipping Society.
Right.
Where like a lot of emotional energy goes into it, or maybe a lot of like, just promotion in the community, or like the expectation that it'll do well, and you're like, okay, this one's gonna make it feel worth it.
Yes.
And then it tanks, which is like always gonna be on your roster of things. So and it's like a video that just really doesn't do well, and you were like, that was the one I was gonna go home with. So I would think that's maybe one of the most frustrating parts for you, is if that happens.
That's absolutely true. And that wasn't even a play that I really even liked. I was being people pleasing.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? This thing's going to bring more people into witness theater done in a minimalist way, and that might even interest people in, joining up with us. So I was kind of like saying to myself, well, should have gone with my instincts. I didn't like the play to begin with. Darn me for being a people pleaser.
You're making me think about a shoe purchase that I'm thinking of making. That I'm like, no, go with the one you really like, not the trendy one.
No, do what you really like. It's so important. And the other thing is, and this happens to every theater director. I'm not unique, or my little theater company is not unique in this way. People who say that they will be involved, and then it's one thing to tell you before it starts, or maybe after a couple rehearsals, but you don't say anything until maybe the last couple rehearsals. That to me is really, so I've experienced more of that here, but I can say something positive about Savannah and something negative about Massachusetts. When I was in Massachusetts, I used to gush my ideas out at people. Oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to do it that way. And I did have people pillage my, pilfer my, no, they
stole it.
Yeah. Stole my ideas because they had more money. They had bigger contacts, and they would take my ideas, and then I'd see an announcement that, oh yeah, this is going up and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, that's not cool at all. I'm like, come on, there's enough creativity in the universe for everybody. Like, don't steal my freaking ideas. So that has not happened here. And I've talked to people, like in general, not as much because I learned my lesson, but I've spoken to people, and I've been comfortable enough to say, hey, I really want to do this, and this is how I see it, and this is what I want to do. And no one's taken that from me here, which is, I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Savannah. I don't think they would, even if it was more competitive. Like, even if, as in, on a literal level, there were more companies like yours, I still don't think the Savannah attitude, I don't think people would do that so much.
True. Yeah.
But that's true. That causes one to think about, what does it mean to do something in a smaller space? Because you do have a lot fewer of those kind of issues that you have in, and then like, if I'm thinking of, I came from LA, and then I have much preferred being in your performances than anything I did in LA, right?
Oh,
and again,
that's so nice.
a lot of it is like your direction style and empowerment, but also it is that feeling that I do feel like I have an intimate experience with the audience, and you feel like it's maybe a bit of a big fish in a small pond experience for you, but like where you're like, oh, I actually can put a footprint in the sand here, and there are people on the other end that receive it, whereas you might just be shouting out into a void in a bigger place because it's so much harder to get something set up and on a small budget and all of that.
True.
And there's so many more voices out there. There might be something very satisfying about the fact that you're kind of the only one that does this stuff here.
There's a larger company that is starting to do some staged readings.
Okay. But is it for social justice kind of?
Well, there was one social justice play, but they didn't take my social justice play, but they're trying to incorporate some
more of that
different things, which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of anything else in the area, I think that I'm the only one doing staged readings in a minimalist way as fundraisers for the community. And
that have thematically every play that you've done, except I didn't see the Sipping Society, but they all have, maybe I could tell it was a bad idea.
I can let you read it. I mean, it's kind of.
I would love to read it now.
Looked good on paper, not for me, but I thought, people can relate to this one.
I mean, you're supposed to try those things out.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I going to say? That just tickles me.
Well, but it's like so 12 Angry Jurors I didn't love either, but I thought in my production head it would make sense to do that. It would bring in a large audience. Mm-hmm. It is a social justice play. Mm-hmm. People in America tend to see things over and over, especially if they like it. Many people saw the movie and liked it. So I figured I'll just, add women. I'll make it men and women and do it as 12 Angry Jurors rather than 12 Angry Men.
Well, that worked.
Yeah. I didn't love the play.
Uh-huh.
And I'm glad that I didn't convey that. I'm glad that you're looking at me like you didn't know that, which is good.
Yeah, no,
because I did not want to convey that. To me, the play is kind of generic. It's not my kind of play.
Okay.
At all. But sometimes you have to make these little balances.
Yeah.
Checks and balances. And, how do I get a lot of people to look at this stuff? How do I make a decent fundraiser? And it was a decent fundraiser. Brought in a great audience. The audience loved it.
Yeah.
And I went home.
That you nailed it. Yeah.
And I'm like, I said to my husband, yeah. It's okay. Like, it's just not, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, one thing that I think this touches upon is the idea of getting to that nugget of, do the cast resonate with it? Is it something that isn't so much about the who, what, where, as much as there is something emotional or gripping to it that people get pulled into? Mm-hmm. And on that one, it does have that ability as well. And people who maybe aren't familiar with a lot of social justice art or don't have a lot of exposure find it to be a very gripping new play for them, right?
Right.
So, that sounded very
no, and it's not overly controversial either.
No,
it's not simple social justice.
But it might be more compelling for some people who aren't constantly in that kind of material. Mm-hmm. So, but I think it just does speak to if there's that emotional kind of arresting hook to it, it's probably going to do well. But then the question is packaging it in a way that feels like there's still that lightness or balance, or that people are going to come in the door. And it's really challenging.
It really is.
All right. Well, do you have anything else that you'd like to share?
I don't think so, but I want to thank you for hosting my very first podcast experience. Mm-hmm. And this reminds me of an acrylic pour. So you manifested this beautifully. The segues, everything was good. So we had all the contents, we had the ingredients, but you're we're like each pouring things in and we're like turning it
Yeah.
and slanting it and making the paint go the other way. So it's like very organic. So I want to say thank you for your very calm demeanor and for this experience.
Well, thank you for being an excellent, interesting, and lovely guest.
Thank you.
I do want to give a little bit of a plug to the Threepenny Opera that is coming up on October 4th. It's actually going to be one of the last things that I do. I'm staying that long for it.
Oh, just for that?
Yeah.
And then you're leaving?
Yeah, I'm leaving shortly after.
Okay.
Moving locations. But anyway, so yes, it is Kurt Weill and Brecht. What's Brecht's version?
Bertolt Brecht.
Yes, why don't you do the pitch?
Okay. So we are doing a staged concert, selections from, not the whole opera, of the Threepenny Opera. We're doing it in German. One of our cast is German, and she's providing the English translations. It's a little under an hour. It's at the Sentient Bean on October 4th at 7 p.m. It's $10 per person, cash only, no cash apps. I don't like to be scammed. Thank you. So Sentient Bean has great beverages, great food, and there'll be great music. So please join us.
And it's my second time doing a solo performance, so you can
She's got a gorgeous voice.
Oh, well, thank you.
Come hear her.
You will find out if she's a liar or not.
Oh, I'm not a liar.
Come see.
I have many issues. Lying is not one of them.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching. And I'm going to do the like and subscribe so that we can get this out to more people. So please do participate. All right. Thanks.
Bye.